Hey guys, my name is Umo. Welcome to University of Pattern Drafting. If at this point you're not subscribed to this channel, please pause and click on the subscribe button. I would really appreciate that. So this tutorial is going to be on how to join your panel pieces for your corset, how to cut the lining fabric for your corset, how to wrap your cups, as well as how to create your boning channels. So on to the tutorial for today. This is me cutting out my lining pieces. As I mentioned earlier, I'm using taffeta to line my corset. You can also use suit lining, but I just prefer to use taffeta. So this is, I'm pinning all of the patterns in place so that as I'm cutting it doesn't shift. So I'm going to do that for all 5 pieces. And then remember that taffeta is not stretchy along any of the grains, so you can turn it either horizontally or vertically. As long as you don't place your pattern diagonally, it's fine. So this is me cutting out all of my pattern pieces. And please note that it's important to notch your major coordinates so that you don't get confused, and so that it will just serve as a guide when you're joining the panel pieces. So I'm going to go ahead and do this for all 5 of my panel pieces. And then I also wanted to mention that a lot of people have been asking about the advanced class. For the advanced class, I would put up all of the information that you need shortly on the Telegram group, so that you would be informed as to everything. But basically what's going to be happening in that class is that we're going to be doing creating a lot of styles that revolve, trending styles that revolve around corsets. So corsets with yokes, how to make it from start to finish with excellent finishing. Do you understand? How to attach your yokes. A lot of people have complained that in attaching their yokes, the yoke it's either the yoke is too loose, or it doesn't just, especially when they use mesh fabric for the yoke, it doesn't just sit properly. So I'm going to be teaching you how to do that. We're going to be working on lace corsets. I'm going to show you how to line lace corsets, because when you're making lace corsets, you can't just make lace corsets straight up like that with lace fabric. Lace fabric cannot handle the rigorous pulling that is going to be required, that's going to be done on a corset. So I'm going to be showing you what to use to line it and all of those things. So please pay attention for that on the Telegram group. So remember to notch all your pattern pieces and notch the top as well, so that you'll be able to differentiate the top from the bottom. This is really important. So these are my boning channels. I'm gonna have to create my boning channel. So my boning is 0.5 inches in width, and so I am going to, this boning channels are long, so I'm going to reduce them to 3/4 of an inch. You can either use 3/4 of an inch or just make it 1 inch. So I'm going to, this is about 2 inches or maybe 1.5. So can you see it's a lot is left, so I still need to trim that off. And then one quick tip is iron the estee on the plain fabric before you cut out your boning channel, so that it doesn't have this weird curvy shape. So this is me working on my cups, the fabrics for my cups. So note that as I'm working with these things, I am not completely taking out the pattern pieces. If you even notice the taffeta lining that I cut, the pattern pieces, the pattern papers were still on the shell fabrics that I had cut. So it's so important, because if you just take out the pattern paper randomly like that, you start getting confused. And even these ones that I'm working on, can you see that as I'm placing them on the wording, this is wording by the way, as I'm placing them on the wording, I am labeling them, labeling top. Okay, I've notched the top, so I don't really need to label that, but I'm labeling the side, the cup area that is going to sit on the side, and then the cup area that will be at the center front. Do you understand? These things are really important, because if you shift them, or you just assemble them anyhow, your corset would have a funny and weird look. So these are the 4 pieces for the 2 cups left, and for the outer part of my 2 cups. So that's the left, for the left and the right breast. So also notice that I notched the midpoint of these pieces, so that I don't get confused, and then trim out all of the excess of the wording fabric, so that it's just smooth and clean. You can also go ahead and iron it, so that the wording will stick very well to the stay and the shell fabric. So I'm pinning them together. This is so important, because it has to be placed properly, guys. This is so important. So this is my lining fabric, my lining pieces. So can you see, as I'm working on them, I'm still leaving the pattern paper on it. Like, this is so important. So I've pinned, this is for one lining for one breast, and then this is for the lining of the other breast. So right sides together, and then I pin. Then ensure that you keep your pattern papers secure. So here are all my pieces. I'm going to go ahead and sew boning onto the Modesty panel. And so this is me joining my corset panels. So notice how I'm joining them. This is a very important part, and you need to pay attention. So in joining them, ensure that you don't take out the pattern paper until you are ready to sew, so that you don't get confused. So this is panel 1. I'm going to be joining panel 2 to both sides of panel 1. Remember that panel 1 is cut on the fold, so I'll just join panel 2 to both sides of panel 1. So that's panel 2, and I'm going to join that to both sides of panel 1 for my shell fabric first, and then I'll do the same for my lining fabric. Notice that as I'm picking out the pieces, I am pinning the pattern paper back. And then an important thing to note about this aspect is that the longer panel must be on the feed dog, guys. Very important. The longer panel must be on the feed dog, because whatsoever panel is on the feed dog will run faster than the one on top. And if it is longer, at the end of the day, it would become the same length. Can you see this, guys? It has become the same length. So ensure that the longer panel is on the feed dog. Very important. So can you see the one at the bottom is the longer panel? You can see it from the bottom. And as I'm sewing, everything will just even out. It's very important. Your panel pieces must be the same length. So can you see? So I'm doing the same thing for my lining fabric. This is my taffeta. Same thing, longer panel should be on the feed dog. Can you see? This is the longer panel. Can you see that? And I'm placing it directly on the machine. Do you understand that? So these are the sorts of tips and tricks that I'm going to be teaching you in the advanced class. The tips and tricks as to how to make really clean occasion wears, you know, all these corset occasion wears, you know, all of these things that have inner corsets. Do you understand that the boning of the corsets don't show on the shell fabric? So we're going to be creating a dress that has that style, and then a couple of other things that I'm sure you don't want to miss. So can you see that everything evens out at the end of the day, and then they all just become even? So really important point. Can you see that? Smooth and clean. So I'll join panel 3, panel 4 and panel 5. Remember that as you are joining it, do not take out. Can you see I'm pinning the pattern paper back? Very, very important, because especially from this panel 3, if you turn it upside down, the shape of your corset has changed. If you turn it right side the wrong way, if you just attach it the wrong way, in essence, in basically, you would have issues. So pay attention to that. And then also let me mention that if at this point you have not subscribed, first off, if you have not subscribed, please ensure that you pause and you hit the subscribe button. This is really important. And then I wanted to mention that subsequently, every single month, I'll be holding free trainings, and I'll be uploading some of the videos from the free training on the YouTube channel. So even if you're not on the Telegram group, if you are subscribed to the YouTube channel, you would see the videos, and then you would even be notified when we have free classes. So ensure that you subscribe. So this is third panel. Now this is the fourth panel that we're going to be working on. Okay, so I'm working on the third panel for my lining fabric. Can you see how systematically I'm doing everything? Very, very, very important. I'm even pinning the pattern paper back. So I'm going to do that for both 4 and 5 of both shell fabric and lining fabric, after which I'll iron all of these seams open. Very, very important. Ensure that you iron all of the seams open. Do you understand? I'll show you how that is done. I'll just show you when I'm done ironing, because I may not be able to film the ironing part because these videos are pretty long, so I'm trying to shorten them. So I have finished joining all of my the panels of my shell fabric as well as my lining fabric, and then you can see this, and then I've gone ahead to iron the seams open. I've done the same thing for my lining, ironed the seams open, and so this is what it looks like. And so now I have also ironed the lining piece fabric for my cup area open, and then I have cut my boning channels. So now I'm going to fold my cup into 2 and then notch it at both the top and the bottom. I'm trying to wrap my cups here. So this is the shell fabric for my cup area. Can you see that I ironed the seams open and then I pressed it also with stay? Do you understand? So they stay apart even under the cup. So now place your cup inside. Let it sit inside at the very cupped area. Let it sit inside. Let the seam of the shell fabric for the cup area match with the notched points, the points that you've notched. Can you see that? Then you pull and pin, pull and pin, pull and pin, pull and pin, basically. So pull around the cup, pin. Don't pull too much so that you don't make the cup have a funny shape or alter the shape of the cup, but just pull slightly and pin, pull and pin, pull and pin. So again, pull and pin, pull and pin. So my cup area has this strip of the vintage checkered fabric at the rim of the cup, at the upper rim of the cup. So I don't sew on my cup. Do you understand? So I'm just going to place that the strip of fabric. You see how I'm going to do it. I just place that strip of fabric across and then pull and pin and cut. So now cut out your excesses around the base of your cup. So cut out all the excess. Can you see that? And then just pull and pin if need be. So that is the fabric that I'm going to be using for the to beautify the rim of my cup. So I'm just going to fold it into two. You can decide whether or not you want to iron it with stay. You know, it just depends on how thick it is. If it's really thick, you can just place it like that. But this is the way I do mine. I don't sew on top, or you know, so I can either sew before I wrap around the cup, or I just place it on top after I've wrapped around the cup. Do you understand? So we're coming to the end of this video and this tutorial, sorry. And if at this point you haven't subscribed, please ensure that you pause and subscribe. And if you found this tutorial or this video helpful, or even the free training classes helpful, please ensure that you drop a comment and then also like this video. So you can also cut the excess fabric at the top of the cup. You can also do that, because I will still do that eventually. So you can do that right now. I would also show you how to also trim the fabric for the lining of your cup area. So this is basically what it is going to look like. Ensure that the center seams align with the seam on the bodice. Do you understand? So this is basically it, guys. I hope you found this helpful. I'm going to go ahead and sew my boning channels to the bodice of my fabric. So I've gone ahead to place that decorative thing. And can you see that is openable? So I can, at the end of the day, I can just tack it or do whatever I want to do with it. But once I sew it by the side, it stays in place. So ensure that they are the same length at that point. So this is basically what we have, guys. So thanks for watching, guys. Ciao.